It is time for another viewer matchup. What I got for you today is a Protoss versus Terran played on Proxima Station. Spawning in the top right corner, playing with the red Protoss pieces, he is known as Dr. Buzzman. Love that nickname, not gonna lie. And his opponent spawning all the way on the other end of the map, already being rather chatty actually. He's playing with the blue Terran pieces and he is known as Nemo. Now, one of the things I have quickly realized while casting viewer submitted replays like this one right here is that whenever one of the players start chatting a lot in the earlier part of the game, they oftentimes go for some cheese. And it seems like so far, Nemo right here, playing with the Terran pieces, is indeed already chatting quite a bit. He says, I've versus Protoss all the time, 4 times already. And his opponent says, don't worry about it, I'm very bad at Protoss. So Dr. Buzzman definitely not, or Dr. Buzzman rather, definitely not beating around the bush. Now, in case you're unaware, Dr. Buzzman right here is going to be a gold level Protoss, and his opponent, well, he's going to be in Platinum League. Now, apparently Nemo has not been enjoying his ladder session at the very least of the day. Already facing off against those nasty Protoss pieces a couple times in a row. Always the worst. They obviously can make a lot of Dark Templar. They can go for Archon drops. They can go for Adepts, even worse. And, I mean, Terran definitely does not appreciate playing against it, apparently, on this given day right here. Very early gas guys are taken right here for Nemo. Now, of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to go for any kind of super aggressive factory play, but we'll see exactly what he's got in mind for this match very shortly. Dr. Buzzman, however, going for a very fast expansion. I definitely like that on a map like this. Now, in case you're unaware, I've been casting these games every week or so, and if you've got like an absolutely wild match yourself, you can now submit them to replays at LowkoTV. It's just a simple email address. I've been seeing a lot of people ask questions. You just simply submit your replay to that email address. And actually, Nemo apparently going for a very, very quick gas steal here, trying to make sure that his opponent is not going to get that additional gas income, while also trying to secure himself an expansion on the other end of the map. Now, please only submit, by the way, your craziest of craziest games. Modlesys named this one LOL, Protoss versus Terran. So I'm not entirely sure what that means, but regardless, he's been analyzing these games for me. He's been going through them, and he's been helping me select the best of the best replays. So only the craziest matches will indeed show up on the channel. And Dr. Buzzman here, I almost called him Mr. Dr. Buzzman. That would be absurd. You can't do that, Lowko. That would be a double title. That's not acceptable. But anyway, he's going for a very quick Twilight Council off of a single Gasgeister. The Terran player obviously does not have vision of that, so we'll see if we will see indeed that quick Dark Templar follow-up, because of course one thing you have to keep in mind here is that with only a single gas, making Dark Templar is going to be very difficult. But of course, he's going to be able to build up that economy at the very least for a little while longer. And actually, it looks like we have indeed spotted what exactly Nemo is going for, because we do see that second factory going up. And that very quickly means, in particular with that second tech lab as well, that he is indeed going to go for a mech-based composition. Now, generally speaking, right, at the competitive level, mech is not all that popular for Protoss players, or rather for Terran players to face off with against Protoss, because Protoss has got so many tricks up their sleeve. I mean, they can harass Terran for such a very long amount of time, and Nemo so far apparently has decided, even though he's in Platinum League, dude, you gotta get your orbitals, get your orbital command. Mules are incredibly good, so are scans, and so is the supply drop every now and then. You gotta get your orbitals too. But anyway, Terran players, generally speaking, don't really go for those kind of strats because there are so many counters for Protoss to try and you know, counter all of the Terran units. They can just simply harass the Terran player to death by going for a bunch of Warp Prisms and, you know, going for example, some Archon drops or DT play, or really just pushing them once they try and take an expansion. But regardless, Dr. Buzzman simply sitting back here for the time being, trying desperately to make a whole bunch of upgrades here. Instead, he's going for the Adept research. Now, on this map, of course, Proxima Station, it can be a little difficult to really get any work in. While he did just finish up the Warp Gate upgrade, there's no way he can actually, like, walk up this ramp and simply start harassing his opponent. He's gonna need, like, a robotic facility and a Warp Prism to try and start doing that work, because so far, Nemo is just simply sitting back, and he's just waiting. He's just waiting. Now, what exactly did he say earlier? Okay, no, he didn't say anything too bad-mannered. I was gonna say, like, maybe he was actually taunting his opponent already. Nemo, though, is just simply turtling up here, and it does look like this is the kind of style where Terran just doesn't really do a whole lot, and they just simply sit back and wait. This is like the style that I personally really dislike playing against, because it's the style where the Terran player or the Protoss player, or really the Zerg player for that matter as well, they just simply sit and wait. And what he's looking for is to max out on a really big army, because we all know that in particular Terran mech, once it maxes out, is very difficult to stop. Now, of course, Protoss does have its answers, and we'll see what exactly Dr. Buzzman has got in store right here once he figures out that indeed his opponent is going to be turtled up. Apparently, we do see that rather quick Dark Shrine here as well, and the Mothership Core may very well be moving across the map with the all-army hotkey and all of those adepts, and one single zealot in there pretending to be an adept as well. They're all starting to make their way across now too, but there's no way that he can really start warping in here, and I think he actually is following this up with an expansion. I actually really like this. This is a nice little move here by Dr. Buzzman. I mean, he's a gold level Terran player, or a gold level Protoss rather, but I really like this. Like, he's getting an expansion on the back of this, right? He's bringing in the Mothership Core as well, so he can potentially teleport home and just simply go for the recall as soon as he realizes that indeed... wait, where's that scan? Did he just scan? I'm not entirely sure where that scan... Oh, there we go. We do indeed see that Dark Shrine go up here as well. But regardless, he's going to be able to bring the units back home once he realizes it. And Nemo says, yes, you are noob. We see a little bit of shit talking going on right here. A little bit of bad manners right here by Nemo, following it up with the XD to try and mention that it is going to be somewhat of a joke. But he says, I am doing mech as well, just simply showing his hand, telling him very well what he is going for in his match, and apparently he is feeling confident, at the very least for the time being. He's like, I killed those 4 adepts. Those 4 adepts did not have a chance, and Protoss are weak versus mech, apparently, is what he thinks. Now, generally speaking, right, I guess I agree with Nemo here, while he is being a little bit bad-mannered, which I do not agree with in the slightest, but regardless, generally speaking, you know, Protoss is going to be weak against mech if it maxes out. You just all, you know, need to realize that if it does max out, it's not going to be all that great, because Terran can just simply, you know, overrun the Protoss, but Protoss has got a gazillion different ways to try and prevent that from happening, one of them being just simply not allowing the Protoss, or the Terran player rather, to take a 3rd base expansion. However, Dr. Buzzman, right, he's taking all the necessary steps. He's getting a solid economy, he's starting up that production of that 3rd base, and he's also going for the Stargates. I think he's gonna plan on switching into like either Tempest or Carriers, or maybe even Void Rays, to try and counter all of those units. Now, there are a few Dark Templar moving across the map. Nemo did scout the Dark Shrine earlier, so I wonder what he figures out as soon as he sees this. Does he have a scan available? He doesn't just yet, because he doesn't like orbital commands, but this one is gonna have a single scan in just a second, and Dr. Buzzman will need to get that scout up. Now, he did scan, right? He saw that the Dark Shrine was in production. Very shortly, though, the Dark Templars will start engaging, and I think that a scan will indeed be available. And he's gonna be able to shut those things down just like that, and, I mean, Nemo, somehow, some way, he scouted it, he didn't counter it, but he had some energy left over. He will be able to counter those Dark Templars at the very least for the time being, but he's still being a true Turtle Pro, or a true Turtle Terran rather. He's just simply sitting back and not really doing a whole lot. He says, why Dark Templar? You scouted it and you didn't have a counter. You just happened to have some energy, my man. You just happened to not drop your mule. All Protoss do DTs versus 6 Terran. I'm not entirely sure what he's trying to say, but I think he means that apparently it's a very common strategy, and yet, even after scouting it, he did not counter it. I guess he must have not clicked on the building while he threw up the scan. Now, he's being a little bit bad-mannered. He's trying his very best to contain his opponent in his base as well, and so far he is doing a pretty remarkable job, but contrary to a lot of like late-game Zerg armies, Protoss has got this magical unit called the Void Ray that deals bonus damage to armored units, right? In particular, when the Prismatic Alignment ability gets activated, and that ability will allow him to beam down all of those units very, very nicely. And while Nemo is just comfortably shit-talking his opponent and trying to be as bad-mannered as he possibly can be to hopefully, I guess in his sense, trigger his opponent and therefore obtain the victory because his opponent starts making mistakes, while he is trying to, like, you know, make those kind of moves, and he's also landed the gold-based expansion, he has not quite won this game just yet. I mean, if we look at the chat just like this, right? If you look at the chat, he is feeling confident, man. He is feeling confident. Not realizing, though, that with, like, you know, a single mule landed, he would have been in a lot of trouble. Now, I think as scan does indeed go down, he will be able to reveal that Void Rays are up. He's gonna say, LOL, are you noob? Nemo is trying to trigger his opponent, but so far, Dr. Buzzman is being stellar. He's like, LMAO, laughing my ass off. He's not all too worried about it, apparently, because he's already said at the very beginning of this match that he was indeed a noob. He wasn't particularly great at the game, and that's okay. I mean, self-awareness goes a very long way, and it's definitely the better two of the options when it comes to, you know, the bad manners, I suppose. I mean, his opponent definitely trying to show confidence, but look at his army. Nemo's army is definitely not looking all too impressive, and I wouldn't be surprised if just a handful of Void Rays would be able to just simply massacre that. He's also getting some upgrades. I really like this one. He's gonna get some slotted upgrades on those air units as well, and apparently the single probe will just barely not spot this army from moving out, but of course the gold-based expansion will be able to do a lot. But even though Nemo is a league above his opponent, and even though Nemo has had the ball in his court for the entirety of this match, he's feeling confident and he's trying his very best to move out, but he's making one critical mistake here, and that is moving before he maxes out. His macro has been very, very poor. He's stacking up nearly 3,000 resources right now, which is an absolute ton, and apparently Dr. Buzzman realizes it as well. He's just simply going to be able to move forward, activate the prismatic alignment ability. He's beaming away at all of those units, landing the mules to try and repair all of those units, but those stores did not stand a chance, and Dr. Buzzman going for the counter BM, ask his opponent as well if he may very well be a noob. And even though Nemo tried being as BM as he possibly could, he's trying to show his hand very early on into the game, indeed telling his opponent that he was going for mech. It seems like it doesn't really matter, because Dr. Buzzman is moving across the map. His opponent has been shut down, at the very least for the time being, not having any clever comebacks just yet. He is indeed producing 3 Thors at once, but I wonder if that is going to be enough, because Dr. Buzzman has already made his way across, not preemptively activating the prismatic alignment ability. He's also racking up a ton of resources right now, which is most definitely common, but apparently he's feeling confident, activating that prismatic alignment, trying to nuke down all of these factories so the Thor production can indeed be halted. And even though his opponent was acting confident and he was trying to be all badass and stuff, and he was, you know, really making fun of his opponent, I'm not gonna lie, justice feels pretty good, because all of a sudden the Void Rays have made their way across the map and they're killing everything, and without a GG, Nemo decides to leave this game. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this match. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below, because justice has been served. And on top of that, make sure you subscribe so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. And while you're at it, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Links are down below. I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.